Hello everyone, I'm back with another video for you today, and this time I wanted to expand upon the unbeatable swarm deck, the turn 6 zoo, which of course I have already got a video on this channel, which you've probably seen at this point. But yeah, I wanted to talk about some of the pool 3 cards that you can include to upgrade the deck, and sort of where the deck ends up, I think, once you do get into the later stages, and how we can make it a bit more of a powerhouse against a lot of the really powerful decks out there. So the concept is still the same. We're going to be playing a lot of one-cost units at the end of the game. We're going to buff them up with a Khazar to make them a lot stronger. We're going to overwhelm the opponent. We're going to surprise them at the end of the game. We're going to play a Bishop as well in order to get extra points every time a card is played, lock down one location with the Bishop, and so on. So a lot of the cards are still the same in this deck as with that other version that I did share with you. So I'm going to sort of speed run through all the one-cost cards, and then we can get to talking about some of the new inclusions which you can try running yourself. Okay, so let's speed run the one-drop cards. We've got Ant-Man, great one-drop. 4 strength, of course, really, really good. We've got Squirrel Girl, swarming the board for your Khazar to then buff it, spawning those squirrels, really, really, really powerful in Zoo. We've got Sunspot to eat up and soak up the energy early on in the game. If we perhaps miss our 2-mana or 3-mana card, we can have Sunspot as a bit of a backup and pray that they don't have Killmonger against him, and it works quite nicely a lot of the time. We've got Iceman, of course. Now I've changed out Iron Fist, just because I think with this version you end up playing the one-cost cards a bit more often before turn 6, and Iron Fist I didn't feel like was really pulling his weight, but you can still play Iron Fist if you prefer that for this particular deck. But I put Iceman in here to be a bit more just overall a bit stronger. So we've got Rocket Raccoon next, to work very well on that turn 6, getting us 4 strength quite nicely in that contested location that we want to go into. And we have Zero, which can be played at the end of the game without really having an effect, just 3 for 1. Alternatively, we can synergize it with one of the other cards in the deck, which I will talk about in a second here. Okay, that's all the one costs already out the way. You will notice we do no longer have Blade in the deck, and the reason for that is due to, again, one of the cards a bit later on. It synergizes very poorly with it. So next we have Angela still, very powerful 2-cost card. We also have Bishop at 3 cost, same as in the previous version. No other 2 costs, so we don't have Scorpion or Okoye or anything like that. We're just going to be jamming a lot more sort of higher mana cost cards here, so I'll show you what those are now. The first is Dracula. Now this is a concept that has obviously been done before. Dracula Zoo is basically a deck in itself. It's not necessarily the best deck. The difference here is we're still running Bishop and we're trying to do Dracula Zoo, so I think it should work quite well. I have played this deck already quite a bit, and it's not super consistent. If you draw your cards in the wrong order, it can get a bit annoying, right? If you don't draw your Dracula Bishop on the correct turns. But the idea here is to play Dracula on turn 4 or 5. If you play it on turn 5, it's essentially replacing Blue Marvel in this deck. We still have Khazar, that's the next card that we have, and then we have cards which will support the Dracula. We have Red Skull, and we have Infernaut. So these 2 cards are going to work very nicely when discarded by Dracula. He's going to basically, at the end of the game, be worth 15 or 20 points, which is insanely good for a 4 mana card, and arguably better than Blue Marvel in this deck. So what we will lack in a wide board, we now will gain in being able to put a lot of points into 1 and 2, ideally, locations with Dracula, with Bishop, with Angela. So yeah, essentially we're able to concentrate our power more into a couple of locations as opposed to going wide and then being a bit vulnerable to other decks that are going tall in a couple of locations. So in theory, some of the matchups will improve with this version of the deck. It can also get you 8 cubes a bit more often, potentially. You've got that Dracula surprise value in a Zoo deck coming in for 20 points sometimes at the end of the game. Can be very, very surprising for the opponent and really deal them a fatal blow, getting you 8 cubes. So that's quite nice. Guys, I'm going to interject for a second here to tell you that a lot of you are not subscribed to this channel. If you subscribe, of course, you'll be able to see when I post new Marvel Snap content. So if you're enjoying, make sure you join the club and hit that button. All right, let's continue with the video. Of course, the cards that you could include, we'll talk about here. You could instead go for, you could play instead of Bishop, perhaps. You could go for more early game, that's an option. You could play a different 3-cost card if you're not a fan of Bishop. You could play Maximus, maybe. You could play, you could even go the Killmonger route, playing Killmonger before you play all your 1-cost cards, although that would need you to change Sunspot around as well. Make a couple of changes there. So that's what can change for the 3s. You could consider adding Titania. That's still a very good 1-drop in this deck, playing her at the end of the game for 5 points. 6 with Khazar is just really, really powerful. I don't have Titania in this collection, but that's a card that would really love to be played in this deck. You could also just go, instead of the Dracula route, there's an option to go She-Hulk and sort of try to skip turn 5 and then play She-Hulk. And try to just soak that Sunspot value, then She-Hulk at the end of the game. I don't personally love that style, but it can definitely be an 8-cube winner. Very surprising amount of points for the opponent to deal with. Maybe you can even Infinite with She-Hulk or so. I guess it doesn't work really because you need 6 mana for Infinite. You still have to pay 1 for She-Hulk, but there's some things to think about there. Maybe Taskmaster, She-Hulk, Taskmaster at the end of the game. Some other kind of combos, although that's changing the deck quite a bit, I think, from the typical turn 6 Zoo approach that we have. So, yeah, I wouldn't change too much about this deck. Definitely Titania would be great, and you could maybe experiment with a couple of other cards. But other than that, this deck works wonders. Oh, I should mention the Zero synergizes with Red Skull. You can get rid of his ongoing ability for a nice 15-point play. In some situations, if you miss the other cards that you're wanting to play, if you don't maybe get the Dracula turn 4 or 5, whatever. So yeah, the idea here is simple. We just curve our cards. Turn 2 Angela, turn 3 Bishop, turn 4 Dracula, turn 5 Khazar, and then we play a bunch of 1-cost cards, get that big Dracula value, and seal the deal. Should be really good. Let's jump into a few games so I can showcase how the deck functions. Alright, let's see what we can do in this particular game. We've got Sunspot turn 1, that's really nice. Honestly, I might just snap on that. This feels really good. Sunspot, we've even got Wakanda, which perhaps allows us to play our 1-cost cards earlier in the game here. Bit of an aggressive snap on the turn 1 here. We want to try to get some cubes if possible. Getting rid of the Angela is a bit sad, but we can always soak the energy into Sunspot, so I'm not too upset about it. Actually, Iceman here seems pretty good. Since he's protected by Wakanda, we can get some value. The opponent's snapping us, which is quite scary. This might end up being a very high-stakes game. Well, it will end up being a high-stakes game, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Okay, so Angela turn 3 unless we draw Bishop. We did draw Bishop, so Bishop on turn 3 instead. I think putting it here is good. We can then follow up with Dracula for a pretty unreasonable amount of hidden points in the kiln. And we're going to be playing a Psylocke from the opponent. That's a bit intimidating. Could mean all kinds of things from the opponent here, but I think I have to play Dracula to secure the kiln. Doesn't seem too bad. Oh wow, Magic going to come in, okay. That is certainly interesting. Is this an ongoing deck, perhaps? I'm not sure why exactly you'd be running a Limbo in ongoing, but maybe it's a thing. Let's just play Angela mid for now. We've got plenty of time to get rid of our 1-cost cards, so I'm not too worried. Get some more Sunspot value as well, which is nice. Opponent's going to go Korg Sunspot. Goodness me, what is this? Is this a Zoo deck? I'm really not sure what to make exactly of this from the opponent. A little bit strange. I think we can rule out the possibility of Killmongers at this point. So we should allow ourselves the draw of Infinite. That's fine, we're going to have lots of mana, so I think just playing Khazar here makes sense. And then even if we end up drawing the Infinite, we can play Red Skull still with that. If not, we can just get Dracula value. No snap to think about here. I'm a little bit afraid of this turn 7. I guess it's going to be probably She-Hulk Infinite at the end of the game here, would be my guess. She-Hulk Infinite. I mean, I feel like we should be able to beat that. Could be She-Hulk Taskmaster as well, She-Hulk Infinite. I mean, there's a lot of points potentially. I just need to be ahead by 10, ideally, in every location. If we can do that, then it's a guaranteed win, I think. I might be doing maths incorrectly in that case, but... Okay, so we've got a 20-point Dracula here, and we get 3 extra points. So we're ahead by 20, so we will beat the She-Hulk here, that's good. And then... Yeah, I'm not sure where I want Red Skull. It's a little bit intimidating. I guess I can put it here and try to be ahead 10 here to beat She-Hulk in this particular location. The only downside is then I'm not winning in the mid. So I guess I need to play in the mid as well. And this will end up tying. No, we will lose if they're infinite, right? Okay, we get the win. A little bit scary there, but I'll take my 4 cubes. And yeah, Dracula was going to be insane there, 20 points. So not a bad one at all. Let's jump into another game. Okay, now we're up against BG. The game went pretty well last time. We were able to keep up with the limbo situation. Perhaps they didn't draw their finisher, and that's why they retreated. Could be. But I think we were pretty damn favored, even if it was She-Hulk Infinite at the end. Didn't look too bad for us. Okay, so we've got Angela on curve, we've got Dracula, we have Infinite in hand. This is looking really nice. Probably not snap-worthy because I didn't draw a Sunspot. So we're maybe wasting some of our mana. Some of our energy, I should say. God, I'm used to saying mana for all these other card games. Magic and Hearthstone and all this. Okay, Nova gonna be the play. I'll just play Angela left, it's safe. It's safe. And, you know, skipping turn 3 might be fine. Funnily enough, the featured location is Elapsed Mine, which ends up being quite good for this deck, because often we want to skip the early turns anyway. This is kind of not a bad deck for that one. Okay, Angela coming out. Sorry, Bucky Barnes. We've already played Angela. Never mind. What am I talking about? I could consider playing a card here just to more efficiently curve out, although I'm very afraid of Killmonger. So it feels a bit pointless to do that unless I just want to try to take more Angela value. I guess I'll do it. But Killmonger is a very real possibility for the opponent here. But yeah, we'll take some Rocket Raccoon value in this particular spot. I'll probably go and play Khazar in the right. I think at this point we want to try to draw those Vibranium cards so that we can actually get the Dracula value. If we draw a Bishop, it might be a little bit weird. There's the Killmonger. Okay, so we lose our Rocket Raccoon. That's not the end of the world. Really not too bad. We can just get a bit more Angela value anyway, so can't be too sad about that. I think I'm going to Dracula in the mid now. And the question is, can we hold on to our cards here? Well, we can. If we draw into Bishop, we can play everything still, so it's probably fine to hold on to them. Red Skull would probably be the worst of draws, because it would make our Dracula worse. Okay, we draw Iceman, that's fine. So, do you think we are winning here? That is the question. Currently we're ahead in the mid. Leader doesn't really do much. They have destroyed 3 units, so they can play Death for 12. That might be their best play even. Death 12 doesn't even beat us in the mid, so if we're able to overcome them on points here in the left, that would be beautiful. I suppose Leader can be a bit of an issue, perhaps. Let's just... yeah, Leader might get us, actually. Although, we'll see, because we get the Squirrel Girl, extra value, we get 1 point here. I think, you know what, I think we should just play everything. Ah, this is tricky, because if they play... Nah, we can go for tiebreaker value. I think this makes sense. Like this, for example. And we get basically 2 plus 3, 5 plus 4, 9. I mean, it is tempting to play another card right, but I want to be good into leader. Let's keep things as they are here. We're not going to win on the left, which is a bit sad, but I want to be good into leader, so let's do that. And there's leader, so we should have enough to beat that, thankfully, because of our Khazar buffing all of our cards. Yeah, we've just got to play around that card, I think, more likely than them playing a death mid, I think. And yeah, pretty happy with that particular victory. The Dracula coming in at the end is going to be huge. 20 points, securing the mid lane against a She-Hulk. Wow, deck perfectly working as it should. I could have even maybe snapped there to get some extra cubes up in my pocket, but lovely. Let's go to another game. Okay, one more game. Let's get into it. Feeling very good about this deck so far. It's performing very well. Oh, we have the collapsed mine here. That's perfect for us. We can go Sunspot into turn skip. And should be able to clear the mines away. Quite good for us, because we get some extra value with our Sunspot, essentially. And more Vibranium mines. This is quite a good location for us in theory. Obviously, we're a zoo deck. We like 1-cost cards. It's great. Scorpion is a little bit nasty. Gonna really weaken our final turn play. So, you know, we're considering retreat angles as well, always. Gotta be careful. Alright, I'm just gonna go with the pass again. We'll see what the opponent gets up to. The Hellfire Club can be a bit awkward for us because my 1-cost cannot be played there. So I will end up playing Angela in the left, I do believe. We might consider actually playing, I think Iceman here seems good. And we need to think about what we're drawing into. So I think if we draw basically 2 4s now would be... I guess if we draw 2 4s we won't even play Dracula, so it's fine. So 4 and a 3 is the most sort of playable line. Or perhaps if we draw a Red Skull and a 4. Red Skull and a 4 means we should play 1 more card, I believe. We should play 1 more. Okay. This is something you have to do with the deck sometimes. If you draw really poorly, which we have done here, then we have to consider playing 1-cost cards earlier in the game, risking the Killmonger, and just making sure we maximize our energy use. As you see here, we might have to play the Red Skull and just... Yeah, I think we're going to have to do that. There's no, no guarantee we'll draw into Dracula. And if that is the case, then we want to play the Red Skull here, I think. Just to get some points on the board. It's a bit annoying that I can't zero the Red Skull. And in fact, should I have gone for that play? Maybe I should have played 0, I don't know. There was an argument to do that. Okay, Rock is no good. Darkhawk is 11 points for them. This is probably a retreat angle, I think, guys. Then again, I mean, we have a fair amount of points. We do have a fair amount of points here. The issue is I cannot play any cards in the right, so we just lose that straight up to 1 Darkhawk. And then it's a question of whether we can win the Collapse Mine, which we're currently essentially even with them, so we're playing a 3-cost card. I don't think this is a good place to stay in the game. Arguably, we could win the game, but I'm going to go ahead and retreat to show you a situation where retreating is probably good. So, no worries, we lose a cube. Could be worse. Let's jump into another game. We are against this guy, who I've played many times. I've played against him many times. Sunspot turn 1 is good. We have Bishop this time, which is quite nice. Bishop's sort of the key card that you really want to draw early. If you don't draw your other sort of 2, 3, 4 cost cards, it's sort of okay, but drawing Bishop is pretty important because otherwise he loses out on a ton of value if you don't drop him on turn 3. So that's the card we're always really hoping to hit. He's kind of like our Zabu. Okay, Atlantis, I think I'll play Bishop mid. Atlantis is interesting. We can really use Dracula very effectively in Atlantis to get that extra 5 points and really lock down a location. Monster is cool. Okay, well, we've got Squirrel Girl, so the Atlantis game plan might not matter too much. Let's go ahead and play Khazar left for now. Honestly, considering a snap at this point. But I think the later game snaps is also okay. We've got Shang-Chi coming in for the opponent, which is a bit annoying. They get some really good value from the Monster Island. But that's Shang-Chi out of the way. We won't have to deal with him again, which is nice. So at this point, we probably want to keep ourselves open to the possibility of a Red Skull. That would kind of be our best draw, and I think we have to hope that we hit it. So honestly, I feel like the best play may end up being... There's also Angela to consider, to be fair. I could even skip my turn here and go for an Infinite line, but I just think that's kind of crap. Killmonger not really a threat, so we can play some stuff. We can certainly play some stuff here. And I think I'm just going to hope that I draw into Red Skull, and if I don't, I probably go for the retreat. I think that'll be how we play this one out. We might choose to just give up on the left, but we do have Sunspot potentially for good value. So let's go Ant-Man, Rocket Raccoon, Iceman 0, and pass. And okay, we miss out here on the Rocket Raccoon value, which is a bit sad. Let's see what happens here. We also lose our Khazar to the Rogue, which kind of sucks. It does suck. I didn't expect them to play a card in the left, because that locks them out of plays there. Okay, so... Might just have to be a Sunspot pass, to be honest, guys. We can Squirrel Girl, but it's not really going to do anything. I mean, we might be winning this. The problem is, they can just play a big card in the mid. They have a good card here that's worth, you know, a reasonable amount of points, we will be losing. Dinosaur is worth quite a lot, 11, so it would be enough to tip the game in their favor ever so slightly. Unfortunately, do we just ride it out, or do we not, is the question there. I think they're always going to go in the mid, but it's a shame. If this card were... the one drop here were a little bit better, we might be okay, but perhaps missing the Rocket Raccoon value will spell our doom. Let's see, though. Let's see what happens. Oh, they're actually going in at the right. So it looks like we'll get a win. This probably should have been a loss, but opponent not respecting my Sunspot. And we'll take a little cheeky one that I think we shouldn't really have got there. A little bit of a clunky game. But yeah, a win nonetheless. And okay, let's play one last game. I'm enjoying my time with this deck, and we're climbing quite effectively, so why not? We can clear the rocks turn 1, that's perfect. Perfecto. We've got on reveals not allowed. Okay, that's probably a good place to play Dracula. I think I'll play Angela in the left, that seems fine. We've got all of our really decent cards here, we just need to draw Dracula and then we're golden. Absolutely golden. Oh, discard is a bit annoying, but okay. We lose the Red Skull, at least it's not, you know, not the Dracula. Bishop on the right seems good. Bishop on the right seems pretty good. So we've lost Red Skull. They're going to wave here. Okay, interesting. I don't really have a play that works with wave, so I'm just going to stay on curve, play my Khazar in the left, and take it easy. They leader us, not a big deal. Galactus coming in. Wow, okay. Gonna be a Galactus game. So we've lost 2 units, 4 strength. Knoll's not too scary. And we've encountered an error. I guess that's because it's the new location. I guess it didn't like Galactus on the new location. It's kind of interesting. So Dracula's going to be a bit of a risk. But I suppose they're going to have Spider-Man here, no? So I feel like our best line of play... Well, we could just Dracula and pray. That might be our best line. Dracula, Ant-Man. And then hope we hit Infinite. I might just snap this, to be fair. There's something that could go wrong for them, right? With Hobgoblin. That can be really bad. And we have just decent amount of points here, I think, with the double Angela buff, the Khazar buff, and they do not really have any big value threatened with things like death. That's not on the table. Canol is not possible, so I think we're in good shape here, actually. Even if our Dracula misses, it's still going to be, you know, probably a couple of points. It might end up being worse than 0, but it's going to put the pressure on the opponent really to, you know, to think about whether they actually have what it takes to win here. We might end up beating Galactus, funnily enough, in part just because we skip those early turns and don't put a lot of points on the board, I suppose. We're just waiting for the opponent's play. They are going to, I would imagine, go with the Spider-Man, but I couldn't really tell you. Could be something else. Dr. Octopus. Okay, that's a lot of points. And we're a bit sad about that because it does mean my Infernaut is going to be sort of weak. So now we're deciding, do I take a 1 in 3 to have a lot of points, or do we retreat? Well, retreat might be on the cards. I mean, we can beat some of their plays. Tricky one. I mean, they must be a little scared of Dracula, no? Let's see what they've got. Nah, they're gonna retreat. Perfect. I think ending our turn there is good because the Dracula is just very intimidating. They don't know that we for sure have crap cards on hand. They might think we have a second good target for the Dracula. But yeah, another cheeky win. And yeah, this deck's performing very well. It's also very good on Collapsed Mine location, which is the hot location if you're watching this as soon as the video is released. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the deck. Subscribe for more Marvel Snap content. And perhaps you want to go and watch the video over there. There's a video on the screen. You could check that out if you've got nothing else to do. You could sit back, relax, watch some more of my stuff. Anyway, have a good one, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.